All right. Good Wednesday evening, Mid-Michigan. Chief Meteorologist here, Chris Eastlick here with a quick update from our live desk tonight. New tool that we have. We've slowly started introducing this and just wanted to make sure that we gave you an update on some of the rain that's coming the next couple of days. Not necessarily expecting anything extreme here, but likely a pretty soggy period as we go towards the end of the week here. And as we head into the weekend, things will likely be wet on Saturday before eventually we can start to dry out as we go into Saturday afternoon. So let's see if we can get right to it. I want to talk about the radar tonight. We do have dry conditions, at least for the moment. We are likely going to see things change pretty quickly here as we head through the overnight and into the first half of tomorrow. Taking a view on the sky tracker, you can clearly see that we've got that rain moving through Indiana and Ohio, and that is gradually starting to move up into the state of Michigan. Looks like it's in those bottom counties towards southeast lower Michigan, just south of Detroit as you get south of 94. Looks like that rain is starting to make progress into the area and then eventually arriving in our area as we get closer to about 2, 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll likely move into some of our southern counties first and then eventually start to move a little bit to the north. So we've been on the live stream for a couple of minutes here. Just if anyone could comment, let me know. Make sure the mic is working before we really get too far here. Still learning the ins and outs of this desk, so I want to make sure that any technical challenges get sorted out here. As we take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast as I go along, there's that arrival time that I was talking about tomorrow morning. So if you have a super early commute, if you're still staying up with us at this point, but you're probably going to bed soon, you've got that 3 or 4 o'clock commute tomorrow morning, you're likely going to see some lighter rain move in first. But then as we go through the morning, you'll likely see that come to the north a little bit. 7 o'clock, I think most of the area is starting to see rain at that point. Probably a little lighter at first, but then as we go through the day Thursday, you're starting to see some of the heavier showers become a little bit more common. And I think we're looking at more of a heavy rain on Thursday as opposed to Friday. I think the downpour potential is a little bit better tomorrow than it will be on Friday. But we'll take a look at the wind that we're going to see on Friday here coming up in a second. Basically, what we gain in less rainfall intensity Friday, we just ramp up the winds a little bit. So as we go through the day Thursday, you're starting to see the showers pick up steam a little bit as we head towards lunchtime, even more so during the afternoon. Likely seeing some heavier showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder on Thursday afternoon. And we've been saying this on our newscast for the last couple of days. Once this rain arrives, it is not going to be going away for a while. There will be very few breaks along the way as we work our way through Thursday and Friday. We may get one late tomorrow evening as we go towards the latter portions of the dinner hours and then into the first half of the night. But it's not going to last too long. We start to see things move back in, and then sort of that system just rotates around us for a couple of days. And looks like on Friday, there's that less intense rainfall that I was talking about, but showers are still present. And then eventually things start to fizzle out as we head into Friday evening and also as we get set to start the weekend on Saturday. I think you'll start to see some progress with the skies clearing a little bit going into Saturday morning. But here's what we're looking at as far as rainfall totals. As I mentioned before, I think we're going to do most of our work with the rainfall totals on Thursday. I wouldn't be shocked by the end of the day Thursday that we're starting to see rainfall totals approach 1 inch. I think at least a half inch is possible as we go through the day on Thursday, and then we're adding a little bit more as we go through the last of the showers on Friday. Now, I think most of our rainfall totals are going to fall within that 1 to 2 inch type of range. But I think it's possible, especially if we can get some thunderstorms in the mix, that some of those thunderstorms could take some of those totals and boost them up a little bit more. And when you look at this map, I don't necessarily want you to look at it as, you know, Alma is, of course, precisely going to get 1.53 inches of rain. Think of it more as a rainfall potential. A lot of this is going to come down to where those heavier showers end up setting up. I think that's where we get the higher rainfall totals. I think that's where we get the areas that see over 2 inches of rain. But I feel pretty good that most of the area, at least at this point, is going to pick up at least an inch of rain between the 2 days, more than likely closer to around an inch and a half. in a lot of areas as well. One thing that we aren't really concerned about this time around is severe weather. Our severe weather outlook tomorrow just shows a general chance of thunderstorms. So basically what we're saying is if we do see a thunderstorm tomorrow, not really expecting that to be anything that's really intense. It will probably be just your average garden variety thunderstorm. You may not even hear thunder at all through this event. It could just be rainfall at your house. But if we do see thunderstorms, really wouldn't expect it to be anything severe. Here's a look at what we're talking about with winds as we go into Friday. So Thursday itself will be breezy. We've been pretty breezy at times this week. Today was a little bit of a break for that. But Thursday, we start to see gusts go back up to around 25 to 30 miles per hour. We've had a lot of days like that recently, and it appears that it's going to be that northeasterly flow that comes right off of Lake Huron. So probably a little chilly in those lakeshore communities, and it looks like someone just told me that the mic is quiet. So I'm going to try and turn that up ever so slightly. We'll be conservative at first with our volume. Let me know if it goes up a little too much there. But there's the gust that we expect on Thursday afternoon. 25 to 30 seems to be a good range. Typically, our lakeshore locations, you can add about 5 miles per hour to that. A little bit stronger coming off of Lake Huron. And then as we work through the day Thursday, still seeing those gusts into the evening. And then here's where it really jumps off the page here. We've got Friday morning starting to see those gusts more frequently, about 30 miles per hour. Starting to see areas get up to around 38 miles per hour. West Branch, Houghton Lake getting close to 40. And then even more so as we work through the day Friday. Lots of gusts between 40 and 45 miles per hour. In this model right here, this is the European model with wind gusts. Doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be the best one as we work through the next couple of days, but it looks like it gives us a realistic picture of what we're expecting right now. And I would think there's at least a possibility that we could see some wind gusts near the lakeshore that are around 50 miles per hour. Probably not the whole time, but I think there's at least a chance that we could see a few gusts here and there really start to get up towards that 50 mile per hour mark. That's pretty typical for some of our more organized storm systems that come through this time of year. So definitely concerned about that. Now, if we see along with the National Weather Service, if we start seeing the potential for those 50 mile per hour gusts is around on Thursday and Friday, mainly Friday, for an extended period of time, I think you're talking about the chance for at least maybe a wind advisory for places like Huron County, perhaps into Tuscola and Sanilac County. Those areas seem to have the highest likelihood of that. I think we'll get that decision sometime tomorrow or perhaps very early Friday. If we're going to see that at all. So stay tuned on that. A lot of questions this week when we've talked about these rainfall totals. I know it seems like we've had some rainy days, especially during the month of March. We had all those beautiful days in December and February of all months, and even a few times in January. But the month of March and even the first couple of days of April, it felt like we had some chillier days. We had some wetness around. But we're actually in a pretty good position when it comes to being able to absorb an inch or two of rain. I'll say that generally speaking because there might be a few communities that have been hit a little bit harder than others. So there's always the localized conditions. So try not to take that as, Chris is ignoring your town or ignoring the conditions in your town. We just don't know the story of every single spot on the map. But our excessive rainfall outlook, this says Monday, but this is actually for Thursday. So let me just change that really quick just to avoid any confusion here. This is the beauty of being on Facebook Live. We can make these changes like magic right in front of you. But this is the excessive rainfall outlook for Thursday. And what this is showing is sort of a marginal or borderline risk for any flash flooding. And to put that in easy terms, basically what it means is there's not a huge risk for flash flooding, but we're getting to that time of year also where we're cleaning up our yards, we're doing those types of things. There might be some debris we didn't get to before the winter season, so there could potentially be some areas that have leaves and other things in drains, poor drainage areas that might lead to some isolated cases of flash flooding. But we don't have any more widespread flood watches. We don't have any flood advisories that are issued right now. Our rivers are in relatively good shape. So I think we'll be able to get through this rather well. The drought monitor also shows, I know we don't really think drought this time of year just yet. We're usually thinking drought in the months of May, June, July, and August especially. But we still keep track of those things during the winter months. and it appears that that we've got some abnormally dry conditions around the area. So that's something that I think puts us in a good position to take advantage of some of this rainfall as well. And it is spring, so it has to rain a little while. So a few of you, Alicia says that it's still a little quiet. I apologize if it's too quiet. Hopefully most of you can hear at least. I'll turn it up just a little bit more and make sure that we can do that. But let's just take a look at some of those numbers when it comes to the rainfall. So Saginaw, since the start of the month, has seen about a ½ inch of rain. Flint, about a ½ inch as well, and Houghton Lake a bit more. And you take a look at some of the rainfall since January 1st, we've got about 6 and 7 inches of liquid. Now, some of that is snow, but compared to where we usually are at this point in the year, Flint is at a deficit of about 1/4 of an inch. Saginaw's at a deficit just shy of a ½ an inch. So we're already below average in those two spots. Houghton Lake is running a little bit of a surplus, which is actually pretty surprising considering Houghton Lake's pretty underwhelming snowfall season, but just means you've likely picked up a little bit more rain during that time. Why is Saginaw, Flint, and Houghton Lake significant? These are our 3 official climate reporting stations that the National Weather Service has around the TV5 viewing area. So other towns, you might be below average as well. These are just the sites that we actually have those official climate statistics that we're constantly keeping track of. There's a few other stations here and there. The data is just not quite as complete as some of these regions too. So we do have our 10 o'clock newscast coming up in about 12 minutes or so. So I only have about 3 or 4 more minutes before we have to shut the stream down. So if anyone has any questions, I'll just go back to our sky tracker so you can actually get a sense of where that rain is right now, and perhaps even we can zoom in just a little bit if anyone's wondering about certain situations around the area tomorrow, or just, you know, perhaps when do we warm up again? I can answer that question too. But definitely like doing these lives, the ability to talk about things in a little bit more detail rather than the 2.5 minutes and 3 minutes that we get on the air. So feel free. Stacy asks about the wind forecast. So we did go over that, but just in case you missed it, Stacy and Jonathan, I'll just answer your question. And we're expecting about 1 inch or 2 of rain over the next couple of days. But let's go back to the wind forecast. Stacy was asking, might have missed this earlier, but this is your wind gust predictor on Thursday. Some wind gusts between about 20 and 30 miles per hour as we head into Thursday afternoon, and then likely picking up as we go into Thursday night and also Friday. So Thursday's not so bad. Thursday's pretty similar to what we've been seeing the last couple of days. Today was a little bit better with the wind compared to earlier this week. But still, we've had a lot of days recently with wind gusts around 25 to 30 miles per hour. Friday, we take that in the morning and we boost it up a little bit in the afternoon. A lot of gusts around 40 to 45 miles per hour. And we'll see what happens in the afternoon. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, there is the chance as we sort of go through the afternoon hours. Notice that we've got places like Eau Gray, Caseville, Bad Axe, and Sandusky starting to really pick up with the wind gusts as we head into Friday. There's potential we could see some gusts near 50 miles per hour. So we'll see if we have any wind advisories issued the next couple of days. Keith asks, when is the rain starting? The rain is going to start as we go into the morning hours of tomorrow. So this is sort of the first wave. We're going to jump ahead here to around 3 o'clock on Thursday morning. And that's where you can see the rain starting to move into those southern areas. And it's going to move a little bit more southeast to northwest at first. So it's going to come in a little bit differently than some of our other systems. It's almost going to come in directly from the south and give us those showers through the first part of Thursday. I think they'll start at least mostly just steady showers at first, and then they'll start to pick back up. As we head into the afternoon, you can start to see more of those deeper shades of yellow by lunchtime, even more so for the afternoon. So make sure as you send your students out the door tomorrow, bus stops, things like that, they've got the rain gear, whether that's just the windbreaker with a hood, whether that's an umbrella, whatever you send them out the door with, or, you know, if they've, you know, been a little silly lately and you just say, you know what, you're going to go out in the rain. Whatever you do at your house. Just make sure that they're prepared for that. Kidding, of course. Please make sure that they're ready to go. And then again, we're not really expecting a ton of rain breaks the next couple of days. It's going to be pretty consistent. You might get one or two along the way where things briefly slow down. But you can clearly see that as we go into Friday, start to see that rain pick back up again, even after a bit of a break Friday morning. And then eventually by Friday evening, things start to come to an end. So this was fun to do. Again, I'll show the rainfall totals one more time, just so you can get a general sense. This is only through Thursday. Notice the clock stops at midnight Friday. So I think a lot of us by the end of the day Thursday will have at least 3/4 to an inch of rain by the time Thursday comes to a close. And then as we head into the day on Friday, as we take it out to midnight Saturday, you're starting to see a lot more areas break into that 1.5 to up to 2-inch range. And if we can get some thunderstorms out of this, if we can get some heavier rainfall rates for an extended period of time over a location, I think over 2 inches in a few isolated areas is certainly possible. I don't think that's going to be the rule. I think it's going to be more of an exception. I don't think everybody is getting 2 inches of rain or more. On this map in particular, don't take this to the bank that Owasso is going to be the one spot that gets 2 inches of rain, but it shows you that embedded within all of these totals that are between an inch to up to 2 inches, there might be a few spots that have the chance to go a little bit higher than that. So let's just take a quick look at the 7-day one time before we end the live stream here. If you can get through the next couple of days, Saturday really doesn't look all that bad. We're back to the mostly sunny skies. We're back near 60. And even going into next week, we have a couple of more chances on Tuesday and Wednesday. But check out the temperatures going into next week as well. We're starting to get into that second half of April as we start going into the later portions of next week and the week after. And it's going to get harder for Mother Nature to cool back down the further into the season we go here. We know we'll have cold days in May, but it's looking like we're really starting to get into that consistent warmth that we want to see. So if I didn't have a chance to answer your question, please feel free to ask me offline. I'll take a look at some of the comments here as we work through the next hour or so and try to get to as many of those as possible, even though we're doing our 10 o'clock newscast. But hopefully we can do more of these when the weather calls for it. But for now, we'll send you guys back to whatever you were doing before this live stream. Thanks for joining.